In our last video, we showed how you can join data from tables in your database into your model segment set so that your model can use these values for deterioration modeling. In this video, we will discuss some of the preliminary steps needed to set up and use your DMS. These are the basic preliminary steps that you have to work through. First of all, ensure that you have the simplified basic DMS from Laundrix. This file is currently called DMS Laundrix Basic Master V1. And you can email us and ask for this file if you don't already have it. Over time, it may be that we reversion this file and maybe rename it. Just email us if you have questions in this regard. Secondly, you need to download your ForwardWorks program with the joint data as created in the last video. That was our video 3 in this series. If you have not yet created that ForwardWorks program and done the data join as instructed in the last video, please do so now. Otherwise, you will not be able to follow on with any videos after this one. I'm going to illustrate this download process in a second. Next, we are going to create a smaller subset of that ForwardWorks program to use for setting up and testing our model. And this is going to have less than 100 rows in it. Then we are going to upload and import the small subset ForwardWorks program, upload the basic DMS to GenoViewer, and then link the ForwardWorks program to your DMS and run the model. So let's go and first do this second step, which is downloading of the ForwardWorks program with joint data as created in the last video. So here I am in GenoViewer, and I'm going to go to the data menu. I go to ForwardWorks program and segment set. Select the network that I'm working on, and you will recall in the last video we called our ForwardWorks program AA demo. And I'm going to download this as an Excel file. And what I will then do is, once this file is downloaded, I will rename it, move it to a location on my computer where I can work with it. And then I am going to just open up that file and we will have a look at it. So this is the file that I downloaded, and you can see once again the two info columns that were added by my join operation. Now what we want to do, since you can see this ForwardWorks program has got several hundred rows in it, several hundred modeling segments, and I want to create a smaller subset of this ForwardWorks program so that I can easier test and develop my model. The advantage of a smaller subset is that the model will run much faster. But also in GenoViewer, if a model has less than 100 rows, then it will not go into this queue on the server to be run as a long-running process. Instead, the model will run that ForwardWorks program and model setup immediately. So there's a big advantage when you're doing developing and testing of the model to have a ForwardWorks program subset that's less than 100 rows long. So what I'm going to do is to just copy this sheet. So I just go to move and copy. I create a copy of it. And then this is going to become my new smaller ForwardWorks program. So I'll call this sheet ForwardWorks program small. And if I want to import this into GenoViewer, I have to just remove these first two columns. So please make a note of that. I don't need to import the comments and the ID columns. So I'm just going to delete these columns. And actually, I'm going to just keep about 50 rows in this ForwardWorks program. The rest I'm just going to delete. So you can see here, I've only got about 50 rows in this small ForwardWorks program. What I can do with this small ForwardWorks program is to put here testing values in these info columns so that I can test and stress test my model quite easily with those values. So all of the values that you typically need to test triggers and certain thresholds and so on, you can just enter typical values in there. For now, I'm just going to leave these values that were joined from the database in here. But note that this ForwardWorks program contains now only 50 rows on this sheet called ForwardWorks program small. So be sure to save this file. Don't forget to save it before you upload it to GenoViewer. So now we have done these first 3 steps. We've created now a small subset of the ForwardWorks program to test the model, and we are now going to upload and import this as a small subset into the ThoughtWorks program. So let's do that now. I'm back in Juno Viewer, and all I need to do is to go to this icon here for my account or for my username, and you'll see there's an item there that says upload a file, and that's where I want to go, to upload a file. And I go on my folder, and this is the ThoughtWorks program that I've been working with, and I'm going to select that file and click on open to upload it, and you'll see it's uploading it now, and it's now successfully uploaded it. Now I can go back to ThoughtWorks program and segment sets, make sure you have the right network selected, and I go down here and say update or replace a ThoughtWorks program segment set. So what I'm going to do is select the file that I've just uploaded, and that one is called ThoughtWorks Program AA Demo. In your case, it may be called something different. I'm going to select the sheet to use. Now notice that Juno Viewer, once you select this uploaded file, it will look inside that file and give you the sheets that you've got available. So you want to choose the one with your smaller, reduced size ThoughtWorks program. And now you need to give that ThoughtWorks program a name or a version code. So I'm going to call it AA Demo, and I'm going to add small. So I've got my original, my large AA Demo, and here I've got my small one. And I'm going to just then click on the button that says Import New ThoughtWorks Program or Segment Set. So Junaviewer tells me that the ThoughtWorks program import process has completed successfully. It also tells me you must now set up and run a forecast model before exporting this ThoughtWorks program to the field inspection tool or viewing it in a forecast view. And this is what we're going to do in the next step. So you can see if I now go and select my network, then I've got my original AA demo, but I've also got my AA demo small ThoughtWorks program in here. So now I'm ready to link my DMS file to this ThoughtWorks program. So now we've done all of these steps. In the last step, we uploaded and imported the small subset ThoughtWorks program, and we're now ready for the next step, which is to upload the basic DMS to Juno Viewer and then to link the ThoughtWorks program to that DMS and run it. So let's look at those steps in a bit more detail before we demonstrate how to do that. So linking your ThoughtWorks program to your DMS, a few basic things to remember is that the link between a ThoughtWorks program and a DMS is called a model setup. You can manage model setups by going to the settings menu and choosing forecast models. A single DMS can be linked to several ThoughtWorks programs. In that case, normally we call such a DMS a master DMS. So looking at that schematically, we have our ThoughtWorks program, which we've imported in the last step, and we have our DMS. Linking these two together in Juno Viewer will create a stored model setup. Once we have a stored model setup defined, we can select that model setup and then basically check it and run it. Once we've done that, you can then go and change your ThoughtWorks program or change your DMS setup and the rules in it. And all you need to do is to select that model setup and you can then quickly run it again. So you create the model setup once and then you can change the underlying data and rerun it as many times as you need to. Let's go do those steps now in Juno Viewer. So recall we said we need to go to the settings menu and we go to forecast models. So there's two steps involved here. The first one is we have to upload our deterioration model file, our DMS file, to Juno Viewer. Now notice that when you are on this page, you cannot upload your file like we just did for the ThoughtWorks program. The reason is that DMS files are very specific files which have to be put in a very safe area, and therefore you can only upload and download DMS files from this page if you have the correct permission levels. So we are now on the Manage Forecasting Model Setups page, and I'm going to select the DMS that I want to use. So I go to my computer, there's my DMS basic master file, and I select that. And very important, you still need to click on the upload button to finish the upload. Now what we need to do is to link our ThoughtWorks program, our small ThoughtWorks program for testing that we've just created, to link that to our DMS file. Now to do that, we need to add a new model setup. So I click on Add New Setup. I select the network that I want to work on, and I select the ThoughtWorks program that I want to work on. AA Demo Small is the name. I can give this model setup a different label, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to keep the same label as the ThoughtWorks program, and I recommend you do that unless you want to give a more descriptive name. The master DMS file is now very important. This is where we create the link between the ThoughtWorks program and the DMS file. So I download, you can see in this account I've got quite a lot of DMS files, but the one that I want to use is the one I mentioned earlier, is the one called DMS Londrix Basic Master. All of the other settings here, you can just leave the default settings. We will explain what all of these other settings mean at this stage. For now, please just take a note of it, that you just leave all the defaults as either use from DMS file or not applicable, none or not applicable, and be sure that these two boxes are checked. These are basically the default settings, so you don't have to choose anything in them. Now we're ready to add the setup. So we click on Add Setup. And you can see a new model setup has been added into your database. That setup now contains all the information needed for the GenoView model framework to run this model. So let's check whether your model is correctly set up. So if I click here on Check Selected, it will do a check to make sure that the ThoughtWorks program and the DMS file are congruent and correctly set up. If you don't get past this step and you get a number of errors here, it will show up as red errors, then just make a snip of those, email it to us and ask us for help. In this case, since the model check was completed and no errors were encountered, we are ready to run our model. So here we just click on Run Forecast. Now because my underlying ThoughtWorks program contains less than 100 rows, this forecast model will run immediately. If I had a large ThoughtWorks program with several thousand rows in it, then running the forecast model will put it in the queue on the server as a long-running process. All right, so let's click on Run Forecast. So my model run is now completed, and this has taken just a few seconds on our server. And to view the model setup, all I need to do at this stage is to go to the Forecast View page. However, remember that in this basic DMS file, we currently do not have any model parameters defined. So although my model has been set up and run, nothing has actually been modeled. So if I go to the View menu and I go to Forecast View, it will ask me to select the network and the model that I want to choose. So if I choose AA Demo Small and I click on Select and Check, it will check that model setup for a moment and then load the model setup information. It now says, please select the parameter and statistic to show in the forecast table by clicking on the wrench icon. So if I click on the wrench icon here, you will see it's asking me for a default parameter that you want to view. And there is nothing there because my DMS file contains no model parameters at this stage. So at this stage, our model is working, but it's not doing anything. So basically, we are ready at this stage to start actually looking at our DMS file and start doing some engineering work. So up to now, you should know how to set up your ThoughtWorks program, join data from your database into your ThoughtWorks program, link a DMS to your ThoughtWorks program, and run your model. So we now have all the preliminaries in place to start building an engineering model with which to model deterioration and treatments on your network. In our next video, we will start by adding a single model parameter and setting the initial value and increment for that parameter. If you are following along with this video series and have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us at info@londrix.com. Thanks for watching.